And good afternoon. We welcome you into the Patrick Netherton Show right here on 1130 The Tiger. We are very pleased to have you with us, and man, we are on location. Normally when I'm on location, it's because I'm traveling with Northwestern State, and I'm in a media room somewhere. I'm staring at a wall. They've got me in a closet somewhere. Like, I'm never in a good spot when I'm on the road, it seems like. Well, today I'm in the best spot. Not only am I in a place where I can get some fantastic barbecue, but I'm also in a place where I get to talk to a legend in the wrestling business. I mean, are you kidding me? Royalty right in front of me? This is unbelievable. We welcome you to the Patrick Netherton Show right at 1130 The Tiger. We're going to introduce you to Rogers and everything later. All right, normally the first segment would be 20 minutes of nonsense of me just talking and gabbing about nothing at all. But the first segment today, we've got the King sitting right here. We're at Jerry the King Lawler's barbecue joint in Benton. Come up and see us. We'll be here until 5. The King is here with us right now. He's been gracious enough to come down and, look, we had to work with the royal secretary. We had to get that all taken care of. When you have royalty on hand, you got to go through all the proper channels, and we're here. And it is unbelievable, and we're so excited to be here. I had some of the barbecue. We'll talk about that coming up in just a little bit. But we are pleased to be joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Jerry the King Lawler, who joins us right now. And Jerry, first of all, welcome. I know this is your first trip to come down and see the place. Tell me what you think.
Well, thank you first of all for having me here. And I got to tell you this, Patrick. I'm a little upset.
Okay.
I absolutely resent the terminology of you calling this a barbecue joint.
Okay, well, what is it?
Well, I'll tell you. It reminds me of my mom growing up. She would always correct me on the verbiage that I use. She would never let me go bowling because she said anything done in an alley can't be good, right? So I've avoided alleys all my life. And joint has always had the connotation of being, I don't know, just like a rundown place. Yeah, seedy, rundown. Okay. Yeah, that's what. Now, you look around here and see what this Jerry Lawler's Memphis Barbecue establishment looks like.
You know what it is?
What's that?
It's a palace.
Almost a palace. It's almost a palace. There's no gilded gold and that sort of thing. But I'm very proud of this store, and it's. Like you said, it's my first time here in Benton, and the first time to come in here and see the place that Michael has put together, and it is awesome. I am so impressed. The food, the look, the whole place is just it's a miracle. Because here's why I'm saying that. I saw this place, through photographs from day one.
Yeah.
From the first time they even thought about making this into a restaurant. And they sent me some pictures, and I said, guys, it'll never work. You can't do it. And now when I come down here and see what they've done with this place, I'm just astonished.
Well, it was a gas station.
Yeah, it was.
And they renovated and turned it into a beautiful barbecue place.
Well, we were just looking at some pictures a little while ago, and I mean, they almost tore it completely down. And like you said, a gas station used to be on this site, but this particular place now is not what the gas station was. This is like a place that I couldn't be more proud of, and I want to invite everybody by here. Look, we got the mayor.
The mayor's in town.
The mayor is sitting right over here at one of the tables, having some barbecue.
I wonder how he feels about now being the second most famous person in Benton right now.
I don't know, but you never would find the mayor in a joint.
Well, that's true.
See,
Well, not unless there was something seedy going on. That would have something different would have to be going on. That's for sure.
Yeah. No. Well, Patrick. No. I appreciate the fact that you've invited me to be on your show. I've heard a lot about your show.
Oh no. I really don't like that, to be honest with you. That scares me a lot.
Oh,
I hope it was good.
Oh, absolutely.
Or just don't believe the bad stuff.
No, I saw you're on Twitter, and I saw the tweets and everything, and I'm very impressed. And I'm proud of the fact that you came over to our store here and our restaurant. And have you tried the barbecue yet?
I did. Yeah.
What'd you think?
Let me tell you.
We tell everybody that comes in the door, you're going to love it, and if you don't love it, the King will body slam you on your way out. So, what did you think?
To be honest with you, I love the ribs.
There you go.
I really
my favorite, too. My favorite.
Well, and here's what I tell people. I tell people, look, it's a Memphis barbecue restaurant, and so Memphis style means ribs and pork. That's what you usually get.
But we have brisket here.
You do have brisket, and that's what I tell everyone. If you go in knowing what your strengths are, And the strengths here, I love the ribs. The pulled pork was terrific.
Yes.
I love the sausage. I love a good kielbasa. That's one of my favorites. And I like the rub, the spices you put on everything as you serve it. I really enjoyed that. It gave it a kind of nice little twang to it, which I enjoyed.
If you keep going, I'm going to have to pay you for this.
Well, no, look, they already told me they were going to buy my lunch. I told them, no, I snuck in and bought my own because I don't want to, I need to give an honest opinion. I don't need to, that don't need them
you
back
don't need
there
to say nice things about it because it was free.
Right, exactly. But I will say nice things about it because, as I've told people, when you have a guy next to you that can put you in a German suplex, you don't necessarily want to say anything mean. But no, I really enjoyed it, and I highly encourage everyone. Look, Shreveport's not a great barbecue town, and I tell people that all the time. There's just not a lot of good barbecue in this area. So a quick little, 15, 20-minute run up north to Benton, that's easy. That's a great way for you to go and find some fantastic barbecue.
And you know what's amazing is, like I said, in wrestling, I've traveled all over the United States, and there are a lot of places. Kansas City, for one.
Sure.
They think they have the best barbecue.
Of course.
Down in Texas, they think they have the best barbecue.
I'm a Texas barbecue guy.
St. Louis thinks they have the best barbecue.
Yeah.
But I promise you, I've tried them all, especially Texas. Now, I know you're from Texas.
Well, I'm from Shreveport, but we might as well be in Texas.
Okay, right. But I promise you, I can't remember now. I was at the airport, and one of the most famous Texas barbecue places has a thing at the Dallas airport, and I was so disappointed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so different from what we have with this Memphis barbecue style, and I don't think anybody compares to this flavor, this taste. St. Louis is close. North Carolina. Way off.
Forget about Carolina.
Forget about Carolina.
Those guys.
You got to try Memphis barbecue.
No, I tell everyone, when I go to Memphis, I'm eating Gus's fried chicken, and I'm trying a different barbecue place every time I go to Memphis. Go to Texas, try the barbecue, all that stuff. And you're right, and that's what I love. I love that everything has their distinct style and flavor to everything. And so I like I like that we have a Memphis-style barbecue joint in the greater Shreveport area. I love that.
And you said one thing right in the fact that you go to Memphis, and there's like a barbecue restaurant on every corner.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't begin to name all the different barbecue. And we have not only flourished, but we have stood out among a lot of the famous barbecue. I mean, Memphis is famous for there's Corky's, there's
Rendezvous downtown.
Yeah. I mean,
don't get me started on that place.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say, I mean, I've been there a million times. I know Nick Vertus, they're great people and everything, but I promise you, our ribs put the Rendezvous to shame.
Yes, absolutely. I tell people, if you go to Memphis, go to Rendezvous for the experience.
Yeah.
It's a cool joint. You go in an alley, you walk, all that. But don't expect...
my mom would not be going in an alley, remember?
Now, that's a joint, right? That's in an alley, so it's got to be a joint.
Exactly.
And I tell people, don't go expecting amazing ribs, because it's not quite there. But I love the place. It's just a cool place. It's a cool place to go.
Now, this is a cool place.
No, this is a great place.
If you've ever experienced WWE wrestling, if you've ever especially experienced Mid-South Wrestling,
Absolutely.
Bill Watts and good old JR was the commentator down here for so many years, and of course this is all about Memphis wrestling, which is so many ties to Mid-South Wrestling and all this sort of stuff. So this is a cool place. The whole the look, the layout,
Yeah, you got memorabilia all over the walls.
I love it.
The TVs play nothing but your highlights.
Yeah, can you imagine?
So it's a 30-second TV show.
Easy now. Easy.
Talking to Jerry the King Lawler. How'd you get into barbecue anyway? What made you decide, I want to put my name on a barbecue joint? A barbecue restaurant palace.
Man,
I got to stop saying that.
I'm going to have to.
Don't do it to me.
Have you ever seen a pile driver delivered to somebody?
Please not to me, of all people.
Well, it's like I said before, coming from Memphis, you grow up around barbecue. Everybody there does barbecue. And the biggest thing in Memphis every year is Memphis in May,
Sure.
barbecue festivals.
Absolutely.
And, I've been part of those things every single year for I can't tell you how long. And I guess what really got me started was about a little over 3 years ago, I bought a place down on Beale Street.
Oh, yeah.
Which, of course, is world famous Beale Street. All up and down there is all about the blues, and it's all about having a good time. It's almost like Bourbon Street down in New Orleans. And it's called Jerry Lawler, King Jerry Lawler's Hall of Fame Bar and Grill. Right next door, it's the next club down from BB King's. And, that was one of the things when I got the place, specialized in barbecue. And people came from all over the world, come to Memphis to visit Beale Street and get some barbecue.
Yeah.
So that it just all came about out of that. I have a good friend named Jimmy Silvio. He was in the club business down in Memphis on Beale Street, and after I got that club, Jimmy and I have remained friends, and Jimmy lives in Shreveport.
Yeah.
He has all of these connections up and down through this area, and we started the actual barbecue restaurant in Memphis a little more than a year ago, and it didn't just kind of take off. So I mean, it just started going crazy.
Meteoric.
Yeah, it really did. So it was just the next thing was to franchise and to spread this Memphis barbecue around the country.
Well, and there's a reason why you're here, and we'll get to that in just a second. Jerry the King Lawler, we're at Lawler's Barbecue up in Benton. Come hang out, come see the King. He's got his big meet and greet tomorrow. He'll be here from 11 to 4. You're going to have merchandise available. Got the merch table over there. You're going to have that going. You got great T-shirts. I went in and got a T-shirt while I was here. You're going to have all kind of stuff, photos, autographs. You're going to be chatting with people. It's going to be a fantastic time. That's 11 to 4 tomorrow up here at the King's Barbecue. And he was nice enough to come in a day early and join us and chat with us a little bit here. So Shreveport, the greater Shreveport area. We know it was a hotbed. Everything from the old Municipal Auditorium, Hirsch Coliseum. I mean, we had wrestling events for a long time when I was a kid growing up, and even before my time. So why Shreveport? Why Benton, Shreveport, that greater area? Why put your restaurant in here? What's your ties?
I mean, my tie with that was mainly, as I said, Jimmy Silvio, knowing this area, and then he's really good friends with Michael Pierce, who is the owner of this franchise. And I don't know exactly how the two of them got together and decided on this place, but I just got a call one day from Jimmy and said, hey, I have a real good friend who was interested in putting a franchise here in Benton. And I said, wow, I've never even been to Benton. And he said, well, that's a good reason that we need to bring some Memphis barbecue to this area. So that's how it all came about. And the job that these guys have done here has just been amazing. To turn what was here into what is here now has just been awesome. And I'm proud to be here. And like you said, I've known about Shreveport and with our wrestling up in Memphis. This, of course, was considered Mid-South wrestling, Mid-South territory. Bill Watts, who was a close friend of me, and my partner Jerry Jarrett, he was our good friend. We used to trade talent all the time. We sent some of the greatest talent that has ever been sent down to Mid-South wrestling. We sent them from Memphis. At one time in the early 80s, we had the best group of talent you've ever seen up in Memphis. So many, we probably had 40 main event caliber wrestlers there at one time. So Bill Watts was struggling a little bit here in the Mid-South, and he said, can we work out a little trade of some talent? Can you guys send me some help down here? So we sent him Rock and Roll Express.
There you go.
Robert Gibson and Ricky Morton, who I created. I took those two guys and I sat them down, and I went and I got some bandanas and I cut them up and I cut their T-shirts up, and I said, and they thought it was crazy. I said, why don't you call you guys the Rock and Roll Express? Made a couple music videos on them. Next, the rest is history.
Yeah.
They became one of the greatest tag teams in wrestling ever. Just got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. We sent him Rock and Roll Express. We sent him the Midnight Express.
Yeah.
Beautiful Bobby Eaton, Dennis Connery, along with Jim Cornette. Those guys all started their careers up in Memphis. Jim Cornette used to be our wrestling photographer in Louisville, in his hometown up there. We sent those guys. We sent him Sweet Brown Sugar, Coco Beware. We sent him Bill Dundee, Bill Superstar Dundee. We sent him Dutch Mantell. And the main one we sent him, that he I don't know how Bill Watts did it, but he turned him into a diamond in the rough, to a sparkling diamond, a lump of coal into a diamond,
right.
Was the Junkyard Dog.
Oh, JYD.
And of course, those guys all came from Memphis down here to Louisiana, and did a fantastic job with wrestling here in this area. So we have a lot of ties with this area.
No doubt. And look, anytime JYD is mentioned, I'm perking up immediately. That's one of my favorite guys of all time. I'm curious, did you get down? Were you able to wrestle in Shreveport much? Do you have many memories of coming down here and actually getting in some action?
You know what? I can't remember exactly what year it was, but just a couple of times I was down here with. I'll tell you when it was. It had to be in '83 because Bill Watts. It was after our when we were doing the thing with Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
Andy Kaufman and I went around to some different places. Bill Watts, I remember being on the TV show with Bill Watts talking about me and Andy Kaufman. And good old JR, of course.
Oh, yeah.
He was here. The most recent time I was here not too long ago at a big custom car show in Shreveport. I was here for that. So, I love Shreveport, and you guys got a lot of stuff going on.
No,
we just got to stop the rain for a while.
Well, it was look. At least you have power here. Half of Bossier doesn't have power in it.
Well, don't feel like the Lone Ranger because we got the same thing going up in Memphis.
Yeah,
I also have Jerry Lawler's fireworks.
Oh, there you go.
Fireworks stand in Memphis, in West Tennessee, and in eastern Arkansas, and in southern Missouri. And as we were leaving today, driving down here, I saw my big billboard going around Memphis, this big huge billboard that says Jerry Lawler's Fireworks just on the other side of the Memphis-Arkansas bridge. We get on the other side of the bridge and I just see my tent off to the right, this big huge tent where the fireworks is going to be underwater.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, really, just the top of the tent was sticking up. And there's no way it's ever going to be dried out by July the 4th. So, so we have the same problem. We have a lot of flooding up around Memphis as well.
That's no good. We're talking to Jerry the King Lawler from his barbecue joint up in Benton.
Quit calling it a joint.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. It's so natural for me to say barbecue joint. It's a barbecue palace up here in Benton. I mean, it's only fitting that a king would be in a palace.
You can call it a restaurant if you want.
Barbecue restaurant.
There you go.
It's great stuff. And by the way, just all the memorabilia is amazing. I love the JYD stuff back in the back. Again, it's one of my favorites. You got a bunch of the stuff here. He'll be here from 11 to 4 tomorrow for the meet and greet. I love that you brought the crown with you.
Brought one of the crowns.
And you held the crown. You did a TV interview earlier. And
yes.
you got the crown at all times. I'm curious. You've had the king persona for so long now. Does it feel like it's you? Like are you one and the same now? You and the king? I mean, is that kind of who you are at this point?
Well, yeah. I mean, probably. I think more. Even my close friends, and especially everybody in the wrestling business, refer to me as just King, rather than say my name.
Yeah.
So I've become one and the same with that moniker, of course.
And you got lucky. You wrestled under your actual name.
I did always use my actual name, but carrying the crown around sometimes gets a little. It's as you can see, they don't travel well.
Right. They get a little beat up.
They get a little beat up sometimes, and
you need a Stanley Cup people that will have their gloves on and put it in the case.
Exactly.
You need a Stanley Cup guy to follow you around with your crown in it the entire time.
You're exactly right.
You mentioned the Andy Kaufman thing, and a lot of people know you for that who maybe don't know you from wrestling.
What?
I'm just saying, that's you got a lot of fame from that whole thing with Andy Kaufman.
You're right. And the reason for that was that happened in 1983, and that was before the time. That was before any wrestlers got any kind of national publicity. Everything was localized. Everything was regionalized. The people here in Louisiana, they only knew the wrestlers that were wrestling in Louisiana at the time.
Yeah.
They didn't know that right up in Memphis there was 40 other really top name wrestlers wrestling up there, and sure didn't know that up in New York there were a bunch of really good wrestlers, or there were at one time 32 different territories that all the wrestlers wrestled in. But at that time. I was just a wrestler from Memphis, and nobody really knew me that well except the people in our territory.
Mm-hmm. So, how did that all come about? What was the genesis of that idea to go and have that put together? And Jerry said we're gonna pause for a second. He's doing a picture. We got a kid in here. We got to make sure we get the picture of that. We're at Jerry the King Lawler's barbecue restaurant up in Benton. Come hang out with us if you like, and then tomorrow from 11 to 4, the King will be here taking pictures, signing autographs. But what was the genesis of the whole Kaufman thing? How'd that come about?
Well, thank goodness for me that for some reason Andy Kaufman, who was at that time one of the biggest stars in television, he was on the #1 rated sitcom in all of television. He was on the TV show Taxi. He played the character, the little Latka character from somewhere in some crazy Kazakhstan or something like that. But anyway, he was a big star. And for some reason, Andy had grown up being a wrestling fan all the way from when he was just a little kid, watched wrestling his whole life growing up in Long Island in New York. And then once he got into show business and got that celebrity from being on the show Taxi, which, by the way, he never liked doing.
Yeah.
Andy was not a comedian. People used to call him a comedian. He would tell me, he said, I hate that when somebody calls me a comedian. I've never told a joke in my life. And he did not really enjoy making people laugh. Andy was funny in the fact that he called himself a performance artist.
Yeah.
And he liked to do things that would make the audience uncomfortable.
Sure.
Or not feel exactly right. To have them wondering, wait a minute, is this the way this is supposed to be going? Is this guy really, is he all right or what?
Sometimes the laughter is nervous laughter.
Yeah, exactly right. So anyway, for some reason, Andy had always fantasized about being, he told me he used to watch this wrestler named Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Okay.
He used to watch him on TV, and he said, I could tell even as a kid that this guy was intentionally trying to make the people hate him. And he said, but then big crowds would go see him. And he said that had a really big impact on him, you know. And so it was funny when I look back on it. Andy, all his life, wanted to be what we call in wrestling a heel.
Yeah.
He wanted to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
And so finally he got to a point where he thought, the way I can really play this out is being a bad guy wrestler. Now, of course, he didn't think at the time that he could have a match with a man, which he never should have. So he thought, I'll live out my fantasy by being a bad guy wrestler, and I'll wrestle against women. He said, that'll really make the people not like me. And so that's how it came about. He started, I mean, he was on the Merv Griffin show, the Mike Douglas show, he wrestled Saturday Night Live, he was at the Playboy Club. Everywhere he went, he would have this as part of his routine. He would all of a sudden go in the back, change his outfit, put on some gym shorts and some sneakers and a sweatshirt, and he'd bring out Bob Saluto dressed in a referee's shirt.
Right.
And he'd challenge women up out of the audience. All these people came to see him do comedy, and all of a sudden he's there dressed like a wrestler, and he's challenging women legitimately to come up and get on the stage or in a ring and wrestle Andy. And so he did this for quite a while. Andy loved it, but the crowds that he was playing to were not that crazy about it.
Sure.
So he got the idea to approach Vince McMahon Sr. in New York at one of the shows in Long Island, and he went up to him, he introduced himself, he said, I'm Andy Kaufman. He said, yeah, I know who you are, Andy. And he says, I've been doing this shtick where I wrestle women in clubs and on TV some. And he said, I would really, it's not being received so well, but I would really like to do it in front of a wrestling crowd.
Right.
If I could come and be on one of your shows in front of the wrestling fans, I think it would get the kind of response that I'm looking for. And Vince McMahon, thank goodness for me, Vince McMahon told him, he said, Andy, I'll be honest with you, I'm just really hesitant to involve a Hollywood actor with our wrestlers because I don't want the people to think that the wrestlers are all actors.
Right.
So he kind of blew Andy off. He didn't go along with it. And fortunately for me, a good friend of mine named Bill Apter, who was a magazine editor of wrestling magazines in New York, he overheard the conversation. He knew Andy because they both lived in Long Island. And he said, Andy, I got a friend named Jerry Lawler down in Memphis. They've got their own promotion down there. They wrestle in the Mid-South Coliseum every week. They draw 10,000 people, as big a crowd as you see here in New York. And he said, I think they would be interested in this idea. So the next day, Bill Apter calls me first and he says, hey, you know Andy Kaufman? I said, sure, I'm down on Taxi. He said, yeah, well, so then Bill tells me the story. And he says, can I give Andy your phone number? Would you be interested in having him down there? I said, are you kidding? Of course.
Yeah, that's good publicity.
Hey, a couple hours later, my phone rings, and it's Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
And so he introduced himself. He tells me what he wants to do, and I said, man, come on down. So we got him to shoot a couple interviews, knocking women, saying stuff like, oh, you stay in the kitchen and scrub the potatoes and diaper the babies. And he said, because men are, and women, you're fine, but men are superior and all this kind of stuff.
Right.
So he sent a couple of those interviews in, and then we set a date, and he came to the Mid-South Coliseum, sold completely out. Everybody hated Andy Kaufman from all these interviews. So we had him there, and we let him run the show basically. He just went up in the ring. He picked out 5 women out of the audience, and they just literally raised their hands and said, you, and you. And all these 5 women came down, and they each had 5 minutes to try to pin Andy. And nobody could do it.
Yeah.
You know, Andy beat every single one of them. And the crowd was hating Andy, but it was great. We had a complete sellout, so we loved it. So that went on for, we asked him if he'd like to come back the next week, because we had wrestling every week, and it was always a struggle to try to come up with something new every week to keep the crowd coming. So we said, man, you want to come back next week? He said, oh, can I? And he said, can you?
Yeah.
Of course you can.
You sell it out.
You
sell it
all
you want.
Come back as much as you want, right? And so sure enough, we brought him back the next week, and just one thing led to another until we finally we found one girl named Foxy that gave him a run for his money in the match, and then he did finally beat her. But I mean, she picked Andy up, almost body slammed him, and the crowd was going crazy.
Right.
And so when that match was finally over, I brought Andy back and I said, Andy, I got an idea for how we do a return here. He said, what do you mean? I said, I'll go on TV this Saturday and I'll tell the people that I saw this potential in this young lady. I'll show her a few holds. I'll give her a little bit of training, and I think with a little bit of help, she'll be able to beat Andy Kaufman. And he said, oh, okay. So we went on TV. I said all that. Came back the next week, and I was in Fox's corner. And then Andy was over there. They had the match, and she did really well again. But then finally, I think it just she just got tired a little bit, and she went for about 5 minutes, and then finally she just got exhausted. Andy turned her over and pinned her 1, 2, 3, and then Andy wouldn't get up off of her. He started rubbing her face in the mat, right? I mean, he was just really being the bad guy. And so I'm sitting out at ringside, and all of a sudden the people are looking at me going, King, what are you doing? Look what he's doing to your girl there, right? So I didn't know what to do. I mean, you know, we hadn't planned on any of this. So I got up in the ring, and I went over and I grabbed Andy, and I just like pulled him off of her. And he flies across the ring, falls down, jumps up, and I'm just like in shock. He said, you can't put your hand on me. You're a wrestler. I'm an actor. I'm from Hollywood. You can't touch me. You can't. I'll sue you. And so he went off in this ballistic suing rant and raving and everything. And I didn't know what to think. I finally got back to the dressing room. I knock on my dressing room door, and I open it up. There's Andy. He said, how was that?
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean, how was that? He said, was that good? I heard the people were going crazy. So anyway.
That's what he should have done to John Lovitz. Acting!
Yes, exactly. So anyway, that's how it all came about.
Yeah.
Finally, we went as far as we could with him wrestling women, and I said, Andy, there's only one place to go from here. And he said, what's that? I said, you gotta have a match with a man. And he said, oh no, I can't. I'll get hurt. And I said, Andy, you and I can have a match. I'm trying to get the rub off the big Hollywood star.
no, sure.
I wanted to be the guy
Absolutely.
that he had to be the first male match with. So I said, I promise you, you and I can have a match. I'll make sure you don't get hurt, and people will go crazy. So that's how the match came about. And we really didn't have much of a match. I wound up giving him a suplex, which he later told me knocked him out.
Oh, wow.
I said, Andy, come on. I've never knocked anybody out with a suplex.
Right.
He said, well, knock me out. And I said, well, what about your head hitting on the pile driver? He said, yeah, my head hit on the pile driver too. And he wound up, I gave him a couple of pile drivers, and he laid out in the ring. He would not get up, and the referee came over and told me, he said, he wants an ambulance. I said, heck no, we can't get an ambulance in here. It costs $250 to get an ambulance. Where are they going to take him? Right? And so he went back and said, no, Andy, you just got to get up, and they're going to take you back to the back. The referee comes back over to me again, and he says he wants an ambulance. And I said, no. I'm standing there waving to the people, my hand raised, and I tell the referee, no, get him up, get him back to the restroom. I said it costs $250. We're not having an ambulance come in. So the referee goes back over, bends down, and Andy's just laying motionless on his back. Obviously, here comes the referee back over to me, and he says, Andy says he'll pay for the ambulance.
Oh, ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding, ding. Call an ambulance. So he calls an ambulance. They come in, they pick Andy up, they put him in a neck brace. He goes to the Methodist Hospital in Memphis and stays in the hospital for 3 days with his neck in traction. And then, of course, he wears this neck brace for 6 months.
Oh, boy.
Right? And they had threatened to write him out of the TV show Taxi if he didn't take off the neck brace for the next season of Taxi. And then, of course, 6 months later, that's when we had the deal. We had the meeting on David.
Yeah. That's amazing. It really is. And And, that's kind of, I think, the cool thing about the transition of wrestling. By the way, talking to Jerry the King Lawler up at his barbecue restaurant here in Benton.
Yeah, you said restaurant.
He'll be out. Yeah, I'm trying. I'm learning.
Thank you.
He'll be here from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. tomorrow. We got him for a few more minutes, and we're certainly thankful for that. King, you mentioned that the wrestling was very regional, local early on, and then Vince McMahon comes in, he starts buying up all the companies and turns it into a national brand.
Well, that's not true. A lot of people didn't realize it. He did not start buying up all the companies.
Because that's the story you hear.
Well, yeah, that's the story you hear, but the stories aren't always what really happened. What really happened was Vince McMahon, he happened to be in the right place at the right time when cable was in its infancy. Yeah. He was in New York City, which is the media capital of the world, and all of a sudden this cable station up there said, hey, we want to put some wrestling on because it's good, cheap programming and all good ratings, and here's wrestling right here. Vince McMahon, we'll take you. Down in Atlanta, Ted Turner owned a station that was just a local Atlanta radio or TV station, and it already had wrestling on, and suddenly Ted Turner's station became a superstation, WTBS, and it already had the wrestling on. So there was your two main cable stations that had wrestling on. And what happened was, like I said, there were 32 different territories around the country where all the wrestlers were just seen on a regional basis in your local TVs. And suddenly, here's Vince McMahon and here's Ted Turner. They've got national television. And all the top wrestlers said, wow, I'd rather be on national television than to be on just the local station. And I'd rather be a big fish in a big pond rather than a big fish in a small pond. So all of the top talent started leaving the territories and migrating to either WWF or to WCW. And it wasn't that Vince went around and bought territories. He didn't do that. He didn't have to. The talent left, and it made most of the territories just kind of dry up. Right. Because what would happen was, like up in Minneapolis, the AWA, all of a sudden, their top talent like Hulk Hogan, Jesse Ventura, and Bobby Heenan, all of these guys went to the WWE, and they left their territory, and then their territory is still struggling along, say in Minneapolis, which was their top city, they're struggling along with lesser talent, and then all of a sudden Vince comes back in and he runs Minneapolis with Hulk Hogan, with Bobby Heenan, and all the big stars, and plus all his other stars. And so that's what really put the territories out of business. And he really wasn't doing it. It wasn't Vince saying, I'm going to put all this competition out of business. It wasn't that. It's just the wrestlers themselves migrated to the two companies that had national TV.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Before we let you go, and again, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Give us some idea of, you still wrestle.
We get the mayor on here and say hello. I feel bad that the mayor of Benton is sitting right over here, ladies and gentlemen.
He's on right after the break. As soon as
yes?
Yeah, we're going to have him on as soon as we're done with the
awesome.
break.
Great, good.
But look, the king always comes first. We all know that.
Yeah, there's a pecking order.
That's right.
Where the king is at the top and the mayor.
The mayor is beneath the king.
City councilman, they don't even know this.
An alderman? Like, what's an alderman? Nobody knows what that is. I'm curious, you've been in the wrestling business since, 70? You were in my business to start with.
I did. I started, there was a good friend of mine who's still on national radio today, Scott Shannon. You ever heard of Scott Shannon?
Yeah.
He's been on in New York City. He's on in New York City every single night now. Scott got me started in radio when he came through Memphis as a DJ, top DJ ever. I was still in college at the time. I did some artwork for Scott. We became friends, and he let me come down and watch him do the radio show, work the board and everything. And finally I told him, I'd really like to do this, Scott. So he helped me make a demo tape, and I took it around to some of the radio stations and let them listen to it. They thought it was me that did it. It was Scott, controlling all the knobs, and I just said what he told me to say. Anyway, I got a job in radio, and so that was what I did before I got into wrestling. And then finally, though, I got my first match in wrestling in December 1970. Yeah. So that's a long, long time ago.
Well,
49 years.
Yeah, you're almost in your centennial or bicentennial, whatever it is. I don't even know what that is.
Math was my worst. That was worse.
All you need to know is how to count to 3, right? That's all you needed, and that's all the math you needed. So I'm curious, when you look back and reflect, and you're still wrestling to this day.
Never look back. Don't ever look back, because somebody might be gaining.
Somebody might be catching up. But I'm curious what you feel like. the doors that have opened for you because of wrestling, because it's basically been your entire life. Like what? I've got to imagine it's been a pretty wild ride for you to go from the regional, local, all the way to the national, and you've been at the height of it, and are still at the height of it. Everyone knows who you are. That's got to be a really cool ride. Just
yeah,
wrestling.
it is. I mean, I feel so fortunate in the fact that, there aren't many people who get to work and have a career at something they really love. And I've been able to do that. I feel like I've never had to work a day in my life because I've never looked at this as work. I mean, there was a time when I first started, I would have paid the promoters to let me wrestle. And so all of a sudden, I get paid to do this thing that I wanted to do so much and I've loved doing all my life. And like I said, it's just been it's been a crazy ride, and the fact that I've been around so long that I've got to be in the ring and wrestle so many of the top talent in this business. I mean, when I was starting in 1970, a lot of wrestlers, like guys like Luthez, Pat O'Connor, a lot of these guys were finishing up the end of their career, and I get to wrestle guys like that, the guys that were huge in the 40s and 50s and 60s. I once had a match, me and my partner, against Pat O'Connor and Luthez, and the referee, special referee, was Jersey Joe Walker. Wow. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
That was in like 1971, and these guys are at the end of their career. I'll never forget, one of them, I don't know if it was Pat O'Connor or Luthez, had my partner covered. I jumped in the ring and I kicked him on the back to try to make the save. And Jersey Joe Walcott told me later, he said, you look like you was kicking a keg of dynamite. I said, yeah, because that's what I thought I was doing. Right?
All right, my last question for you, King. Put you in your prime, which I'm assuming was like 2 months ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah. Put you in your prime. Anyone else in their prime, you're main eventing WrestleMania. Who do you want to wrestle? Who would you have liked to have gone up against and give you one match, your dream match?
Oh, that's a good question.
It's a tough one.
To main event WrestleMania, I don't know. I mean, I've wrestled at WrestleMania. I had probably one of the greatest. I had a match at WrestleMania against my broadcast partner, Michael Cole, but the special referee was Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes, Stone Cold, absolutely.
And you know what? When I think about it, probably either Stone Cold Steve Austin or The Rock. Two of those guys, they would be up there at the top of any list that you want to make to the main event of WrestleMania. But the funny thing, wasn't the main event of WrestleMania, but I've wrestled both those guys many times when they were. Heck, I wrestled The Rock when he just got started down in Memphis. I had a loser leave town match with The Rock, who was Flex Cabana at the time. I had a loser leave town match with him Saturday morning on TV, and that Monday night he started in the WWE as The Rock. So, and I wrestled him in the WWE up there. That was when we were going back. I was going back and forth, and wrestled stunning Steve Austin when he had hair, and he was coming through Memphis. And as a matter of fact, he told me this on his podcast. He said, I'd never been in the ring with somebody that when they tried to talk to me, they didn't move their lips. I always consider myself sort of like a ventriloquist in the fact that if I would say something to somebody, I'd try to do it without the audience being able to see my lips, right? And so the first time I was wrestling stunning Steve Austin, I said something about, I don't know, maybe if I said grab a headlock or whatever. And he looked around and he said, what? And I would say it again, and he said, could you hear it really well? And so I told him, I said, that may be where you started the what gimmick.
Yeah.
And he said, I think it was. What? You're right, that's how that happened. So anyway, yes, so yeah, there's so many great guys that I've been able to wrestle. And like I said, starting out with guys like Luthez, then Hulk Hogan. He became the Hulk. And on our Memphis TV, we were the first ones to call him the Hulk. Wow. He was wrestling, came in there wrestling as Terry Bollea, and we started calling him the Hulk. Had matches with him there in Memphis, coming up from the Hulk all the way through Stone Cold Steve Austin. The Undertaker started in Memphis. I had one of his first matches there. We called him Master of Pain. Sting, the Ultimate Warrior, they were the Blade Runners. They both came to Memphis, started out right there. So I've wrestled all of these guys early in their careers and even later on in their careers, all the way up to like a Hulk Hogan, The Rock, then John Cena, Randy Orton, CM Punk, all of these guys, right up to Kevin Owens of today, and all these different guys. I've just had a fantastic career, and I've never stopped. I still, like I said, I wrestle 2 or 3 or maybe sometimes 4 times a month still. Yeah. And so I think that's the secret. Don't ever stop.
Yeah.
Or you won't be able to start back again.
Once you stop, it's all over.
Here's my ringtone.
Well, that makes sense. It's got to be that ringtone, if nothing else.
Of course.
By the way, I love the resurfaced '77 video, the promo you cut on Dusty Rhodes about all of his. I know you retweeted everything. His grandfather and his father, Bumpy and Gravel. And
Gravel Roads. That when I look back on it, that may have been the first time anybody did a "This Is Your Life" segment.
Yeah.
On because that was in the maybe late 70s.
That was 77.
Yeah, 77.
Yeah.
Way before WWE was even thought about being on a network TV or anything. But yeah, we did a lot of that stuff. I'm fixing to have my own YouTube channel.
Nice.
And we're going to go back and grab up all of that stuff and have it on my own Jerry Lawler's YouTube channel. And now up in Memphis, give you another reason to come to Memphis rather than just our barbecue.
Sure.
Every Saturday morning I have Jerry Lawler's Classic Memphis Wrestling.
That's beautiful.
It's 11 o'clock Saturday morning where it used to be for years and years and years. We have a show on there that I host where we go back and look at all the old Classic Memphis Wrestling.
That's amazing. I always had a dream. I do play-by-play for a college down an hour south there. I always had a dream of being a wrestling play-by-play guy. But every time I saw that, JR's getting in the ring, Cole's getting in the ring. I'm like, I don't want to get in the ring. I can just call it and leave, that'd be fine, but I don't need to be involved in a storyline where I'm fighting Lawler at some point in time. Like, I just can't do that. I can't take
Now, what college was it that let you do play-by-play?
Northwestern State down in Natherton.
Oh, I know Northwestern State. If you get your diploma from Northwestern State, you put it on your dashboard and you can park in the handicap section.
That's perfect. Exactly. Oh, that's beautiful. That's going to end it right there. We're leaving it on that. Seriously, though, Jay, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, my gosh. Really thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it.
This was fantastic. Again, if you want to meet the King tomorrow, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., you'll be out here signing autographs, photos, memorabilia, all that?
All that stuff, yeah. Come on by. Get your picture made, get an autograph. We'll talk some wrestling. We're going to have a good time.
That's beautiful.
And eat some barbecue.
That's right. At a barbecue restaurant, a barbecue palace, as it were. Jerry the King Lawler joining us. We'll take a break. We'll come back. I know it was a long first segment, but trust me, it was worth it.
Did the mayor leave?
I don't know. We may have lost the mayor. I'm not sure. But if he's here, we'll get him on in a little bit. It's the Patrick Netherton Show live from Jerry the King Lawler's Barbecue. Again, it's very easy to find. Just come up on Benton Road, and it's just north of the courthouse on the right. It's easy to find. Brand new, beautiful white and red building. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll give you the introductions. If Rogers Hampton, hopefully, Lawler, if you decide you want to get back in radio, I'll fire my producer. You can come run my board anytime you want.
What are you trying to tell me? I got the perfect face for radio?
Look, I do. There's no doubt about that. All right, it's the Patrick Netherton Show. We'll be right back.